WDGL HD2, Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. This is Sports Shorts Radio. It's the fastest 2 hours on the radio, covering it all from the Fighting Tigers of LSU to the tracks of NASCAR on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now, here's Ronnie Rance, Tommy Krysan, and Hunter McCann.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Shorts Radio on a hot Saturday in Baton Rouge, broadcasting into the Lafayette and Lake Charles markets. I'm Tommy Krysan, glad to be here, glad to have you there. Dynamite show planned for you today with a ton of stuff, as always, going on in the world of sports. As you can see, for those of you watching the stream on Facebook, YouTube, and X, we're at the BRQ Restaurant, Seafood and Barbecue. I'll get it right. BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. Been open since 2017. Full service bar. They got the backyard with just tons of stuff available here for you. A great restaurant, family friendly, attention to detail, customer service, great food, great drinks, and they got a big time special going on now. Back to school, a great discount for families, kids, and teachers who need a great meal, whether dining in or taking out. Use the code BTS, back to school, 10, BTS 10 for 10% off starting Monday. Another new special, in addition to the burnt ends, which I love and I eat once a week, the bacon rack shrimp, which I'm going to get today. They're going to start a brisket burger with a side dish. They also have new mocktails. Mocktails, not cocktails, mocktails. Ask the staff about them. BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. Connect on all your favorite social media platforms. Hey, the New Orleans Saints play football today. LSU camp is closed now, to the media, I should say. Cade Anderson to the big leagues, going to pitch tonight. PGA Golf Little League World Series. Will Wade, Kim Mulkey. I mean, it's all in the news. I say good morning to Hunter McCann, WBRZ's Best Bets. You're going to have Best Bets? Good morning first.
Good morning, sir. Yes.
You're going to have Best Bets for us today?
Nothing today.
No, come on,
well,
man. They got college football next Saturday.
I said we're getting preparations for next Saturday. I'm going to have a full slate for you by Saturday.
I mean,
man.
well, you got Southeastern plays Thursday night. You got Nichols and Louisiana.
Yeah, these were all
College
lines that came out in the last 24 hours.
State. You got Southern Jaguars on the road next week. Got some football happening, Raging Cajuns, McNeese Cowboys. I mean, it's all here, Hunter.
Hey, dude, we're right on the doorstep, and this is the rare occurrence where the FCS spreads are already out this early because week one they don't have to wait for anything because usually it's morning of. You get these FCS scores. So if you want to bet on FCS football, you got to do all your research and get all the lines real early in the morning. So I'll get a whole week of preparation time to look into those.
All right, and Ronnie Rance will be joining us momentarily here. Of course, he popped in on Sports Shorts Friday yesterday. But, Hunter, let's start with the LSU football Tigers, 11th in the Associated Press poll, 13th in the coaches poll. Line as of this morning, 10.5-point favorite over the Clemson Tigers, who are unranked in the preseason polls.
As they should be.
For the first time in a long time. Over and under in that game, 51.5. Hunter, the media is no longer going to watch LSU practice. They're going to start doing secrets and all of that, trick plays and whatnot. But what is your feeling about the LSU Tigers as of this morning?
I'm excited. I liked what I saw from my time at being at camp and being able to see what the media has been able to compile over the last 3 weeks or so. It's been exciting to see the progress of them allowing Sam Leavitt kind of get out of the box and be able to showcase what he was able to do. This past week, Lane Kiffin was very impressed with his quarterback, and he called them adult throws, types of throws that only a very few percentage of quarterbacks around the country are able to make. And since Sam was making them, and he was asked about being able to see things now from Sam that maybe he had seen on film or hoped would come back because he had injured and he just wasn't himself in 2025. And Lane said he just loves being able to see that stuff in person now because it went away, it came back, and now it's here full time with Leavitt. The biggest issue is depth right now, I think, for this team, especially on the offensive line. It's been really the same five guys running on the offensive line, and it's kind of been a scramble to put another five guys behind them. It's been a real battle. So LSU, if they stay healthy, you feel pretty good about the offensive line, but that's when it starts getting a little shaky there. But they're going to have mock week this week. They're going to basically not only just do like a mock game, but also like a mock routine and everything. That includes like they're going to go stay at a hotel. They're going to go enter the stadium next Saturday. They're going to do a mock game inside the stadium. They're going to do basically the entire thing they would do on game day minus the fans. They'll wait for September 5th to have that place rocking.
Good morning, Ronnie Rance. How are you, sir?
What's going on, fellas? Great to be here at BRQ. I came in hungry today.
Well, you got they got some specials.
We'll get you a
back
carrot
to
cake.
school special.
All right.
You could probably eat the whole piece of carrot cake today, huh?
I don't know about that. That's a little crazy. I don't think all three of us could eat a whole piece of carrot cake.
We could not.
Glad to be over here at BRQ. Of course, the official catering service at LSU Athletics, and of course, we're talking LSU football as everybody's getting excited, man. I mean, it's right around the corner. How about Lane Kiffin playing Rocky Top and some of the fight songs of the opponents in the stadium? That's pretty cool.
It is. I think it's good to get the kids into the environment of what they're going to experience this season. Just get them in the mental headspace.
Who's going to be on the roster in a couple of weeks? I mean, this is this stuff that's happening in the courts right now. It's changing minute to minute. I mean, we looked at X here in the last few minutes. Have been a ruling or something that happened this morning?
I don't know. Aren't the judges off on a Saturday, right?
I don't know. Probably not for this. These
well,
purposes.
not when they're getting that brown bag under the table.
Yeah.
They're not off.
I mean, it's incredible. Okay, so the latest.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask WBRZ
sure.
Hunter McCann.
He can give it to us.
The
The latest
latest-
been on it for 30 minutes.
Because it one rules this way, the other appeals. So where are we at the moment?
Let's start at the beginning. Colorado injunction, which was a national injunction that basically granted the
Was
class
that June or something? I think?
It was less than a month ago. I think it was in July. But
Okay.
point being is it granted the class of 2022 eligibility once it finally the injunction passed. Granted the class of 2022 retro eligibility for a fifth year after the 5-for-5 rule. And that allowed
That was for students that had graduated in 4 or had played 4 years.
4 years for them to come
Correct.
back for a fifth
Class
year
of 2022.
Yes.
Correct.
This week, on top of that, there was a Louisiana lawsuit filed between 16 football players, a total of 33 collegiate athletes, filed through the courts in Louisiana, approved by a judge on a temporary restraining order that would allow not only those athletes that wanted the fifth year of eligibility, it was like an additional 2. Like some of them weren't playing professional sports yet, but were a part of the lawsuit. But a large majority of the football players, of the 16 football players that filed, had gone on to play. They're on NFL practice teams right now, or they're going to be on practice rosters or whatever. That granted them the eligibility, including Jack Pyburn, who's playing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a former LSU defensive lineman. He would be able to come back and play as well. He was one of the 16. Then yesterday, late morning or so, and officially the NCAA was granted a stay in that Colorado injunction, which basically meant that those athletes that had been granted the ability in that a month ago to be able to play with their eligibility from 2022 no longer were able to. They had sided with the NCAA and said, yeah, we're not going to let you do this. So the whole thing was basically like overruled. Other than the 33 athletes, the 16 football players, and the other 17 from other walks of life, college basketball, tennis, whatever you name it, swimming, the ones that filed of those 33 in Louisiana are still eligible to play this season through the temporary restraining order. So Jack Pyburn, the junior Tui Halamaka, who's coming from Notre Dame now to LSU. Thank you. And of course, for basketball, Dent, who's coming over to join Will Wade's squad. He was a part of the 33 athletes in the temporary restraining order. So those 33 are still able to play this season with the additional fifth year of eligibility from 2022. But if any athlete on top of that wants to play, they have to file their own separate TRO before they're able to play. And that goes locally here as well for Kelby Givens, who was, if you don't know, over at Southern. All SWAC defensive over there, their defensive lineman over there, had been a part of Southern's coaching staff for the last 5 months. He was granted in that Colorado injunction the ability to come back and play for Southern. He announced Monday he was coming back. He had started practicing this week in hopes of playing Alabama State. But he wasn't a part of that TRO.
Right.
It was just from the national injunction.
They thought that was going to be enough.
Correct, exactly. And then because of yesterday's overturn in that
so now
case,
he has to go through the process.
He's got to go through the process of filing his own restraining order if he wants to play this season for Southern. If not, he's going to go back probably and be a part of the coaching staff. So lots of things.
And
moving
we
in
don't
this.
know how quickly that process
no.
works as far as filing the.
Depends on how big the brown bag is.
Yeah. WBRZ reached out yesterday to ask Kelby if he was planning to file the TRO. We did not get a response to that, but we have no idea how long that process could take. It may not be in time for him to play against Alabama State.
How long was the process for the other people?
That's the problem. Who knows?
Because I'm sure those other people didn't file till after the situation in Colorado.
Well, I would imagine that would be the case.
Right. Once they saw that happen, then they.
But either way, Jack Pyburn, who, like I said, is currently playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has not made a decision whether or not I guess he's coming back. If I had to guess, he won't make that decision until after the final preseason game when he finds out if he makes the 52-man roster or not, 53-man roster or not.
The thing about
and after that, he could jump into the transfer portal and go anywhere he wants, back to LSU or somewhere else.
So I wouldn't think that Pyburn's going to make the 53-man roster, okay? But he could make the practice squad. In the practice squad, you're getting a couple $100,000 a year, but if you're Pyburn, here's the thing: we sit there and go, "Oh, well, Pyburn could come back to college and make more than that." Can he? All the money's been allocated. I mean, like, you got to pass the hat again or whatever, right?
The hat for the Notre Dame kid.
But I mean, like
UCLA basketball player.
But I mean, I'm saying, like, it's budgets and things and all these are a real deal. And oh, by the way,
are they?
LSU has a budget, Ron?
Well,
are you sure?
Seriously, Ron, does LSU have a budget?
But is Pyburn necessarily going to come back to LSU?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
He's a free agent.
They go back to Florida.
He can go anywhere he wants. But I'm gonna be honest with you.
Wasn't that great last year?
He can go to McNeese.
Wasn't that great last year, for being honest?
He looked good that first game. Well, I'm excited to see what he does this weekend for the Buccaneers. But he had 2 sacks in that game last week, that preseason game.
Keep in mind, you just said a preseason game.
Yeah, but still, he only had 2.5 sacks last year, I think, for LSU.
Either way, I think he's going to play for LSU this year with the way things are going.
Listen, Hunter the forecaster.
Because look, I may not have said that yesterday, but it is quite interesting to me that the 2 big moves of the guys that have gone through the transfer portal yesterday both went to LSU. This sounds like something that, and it was in Louisiana. This sounds like, possibly the coaching staffs of the university may have guided the hand of somebody here, that judge in Louisiana. I'm just telling you where the breadcrumbs are leading, right? But either way,
every judge in every state is going to rule in favor of their college.
That's
especially when they get that envelope under the table.
But I mean, they don't even need that.
That happened in Lubbock with Texas Tech.
That's what I'm saying. It happened in Mississippi.
They gave that judge
Alabama, Mississippi. It happens everywhere. Yeah. It's not even about the money, about a bag. It's their state. It's their school. It's their town.
So I'm not saying
they may have went to school there.
I'm not saying all 33 of those athletes were handpicked by Louisiana. Like, hey, we're doing this lawsuit. I'm sure Wynn got out to some of them, like, the Ole Miss football players, like, oh, Wynn have been, and that's why they're a part of it. But for Jack Pyburn to be a part of that TRO, he had to file for the TRO. Tells me that if he does not make the 52-man roster, expect 53-man roster. Expect Jack Pyburn to be back in college football, and he may be wearing purple and gold.
What's the odds on that? Seriously,
I don't know. Plus, let's go plus 200. I really don't think it's that crazy of a thought. I really don't.
Well, that would plus 200 means it's not that crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, TK.
I mean,
but
we've got so many examples in the basketball space of guys that have gone pro and then come back and played as of last year. So, and it's happening this year. So, I mean, like, anything's possible. I mean,
especially nowadays.
Nowadays, I mean, like, you just get. The thing that I don't understand,
Joe Burrow might come back. No, I'm kidding.
Is just you can have a judge anywhere basically make an injunction for you, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's how college football is. And Matt Moscona made a great point this week. About the fact that if the adults in the room would just enforce the rules, if the commissioners of these conferences would come together and go, we're not doing that. We're going to back what the NCAA rule says, which is they don't have the eligibility to play, then all of this would not happen. Problem is everybody's looking for any advantage they can get. So if there's an advantage to be made and there's money on top of that, they're going to do it. And that's where we are right now.
Well, supposedly SEC commissioner,
he's not happy.
Not happy about it, but being not happy and, like you say, doing something about it. Is the SEC willing to say we are not going to participate, but then the Big Ten does?
Yeah, because then now you're at a disadvantage.
Right? You're at a disadvantage. So it's to me, it reminds me of Major League Baseball, where they're going to have a strike. They're not going to come to an agreement, and 2027 season and the start of it and all that's going to be in jeopardy. But the issue there is the owners want a salary cap, and the players don't. Okay, because they've never had one. Why would you? But
you got to fight against.
But the owners, it's their own fault. You know what I mean? Like, it's their own fault. They're sitting there saying, we can't. This isn't sustainable. We can't afford this. Well, but you guys internally can't get on the same page because you got other teams that are willing, Dodgers and others that are willing to just spend, and be damned what that ramifications are.
I'm just going to say this. So the 53-man roster deadline is a week from tomorrow, August 30th. By September 1st, Jack Pyburn's going to be on LSU's campus.
No, so now
I
you
really feel
believe
that
it's
way.
better than 50%.
I think if he does not make the only reason if he makes 53-man roster, then it's all null and void. Like he's going to stay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If he does not make the roster, he will be wearing purple and gold by the middle of the week leading up to Clemson. I think he'll play against Clemson. He's in football shape, man.
What's interesting is to see the players that are in the NFL and camps, if they end up in college football, to see the growth, right? Because now you've had NFL coaching, NFL training, you haven't been going to class or anything, right? And you're just doing that 24/7, and to see the improvement as a football player, the toughness of having to go against pros all camp, and to see how that's going to prepare them for college, you would expect that they would have good years, and you would expect a guy like Pyburn, who was, I don't want to say a disappointment last year, but he wasn't the player we had hoped he would be, right? The difference maker that LSU fans hoped he would be. If all of a sudden he comes back this year and gets 9 or 10 sacks and becomes the difference maker, you could probably point to that training camp and all that preparation with the Bucs and say big thank you. And oh, by the way, he now will get drafted higher and sign a big bonus where he didn't this past year.
He admitted this past week too that he felt like he maybe didn't give it his all in college. Now that he had got to the NFL and
he
seen
sees
how
what
training
it takes,
and realized what it takes, he's like, maybe I didn't give it everything I had in the tank in college football. So imagine a guy like that with realizing
something to prove.
Yeah, something to prove, coming back and doing it.
And he probably got on River of Life capsules as well.
That's a difference maker.
Yeah,
Tell us about River of Life capsules.
Yeah,
right?
riveroflifecapsules.com. You can go check it out, man. If you got any sort of inflammation, you got back pain, knee pain, any sort of pain, and you're taking anything that's over the counter, stop immediately. Go to riveroflifecapsules.com. Take it today. It's all natural ingredients that are in the formula. It's less than $40 for a bottle. You kind of judge how many capsules you need based on your own experience. Sometimes people will take one a day just as a preventative type maintenance. Others will take it as needed. You can take 2, 3, however many you need. But riveroflifecapsules.com. If you're not sure about it, read up on it on the website. You can talk to our gang over at Angiogenesis Medical. You can give them a call and talk to them, and they'll walk you through it. But River of Life Capsules, our sports shorts team has been taking it. Of course, Derry Beckwith will be joining us in hour number 2 today. He'll be here hour number 2 joining us. Okay. And Derry will be able to tell us about his experience with River of Life Capsules because he's been taking it for a while, as well as Derry, had knee surgeries and things back in the day when he was at LSU and the Chargers, and he during the football season will be walking the sidelines, and so riveroflifecapsules.com is what Derry takes during football season, and it helps him out a lot, and it will help you too. riveroflifecapsules.com. All right, we're wrapping up. That was segment number 1 in the books over here at BRQ in Baton Rouge, the official caterer of LSU Athletics. One of the best brunch spots. If you're looking for a brunch spot Saturdays or Sundays in Baton Rouge, go over here. Everyone, you got with back to school, we got a little discount for you. If you, as you get back to school, we want to share a great discount for families, kids, teachers who need a great meal, whether dining in or taking out. All you got to do is use the code BTS10 for 10% off your bill. BTS10, back to school 10, for 10% off, whether that's in dining or takeout. BTS 10 gets you 10% off at BRQ. They're starting a new special also on Monday, similar to the burnt ends and bacon wrapped shrimp specials. The next one is the brisket burger with a side for only $18. I've had their brisket burger before. Amazing. So BTS 10 for 10% off your bill over at BRQ. Check it out this weekend. They've got a fantastic brunch today, tomorrow. Can't beat it. They open at 10:30. Brunch goes till 3 o'clock over at BRQ in Baton Rouge. We'll take a break. Be back with more Sports Shorts on ESPN Radio, Lake Charles, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge.
This is Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you on this Saturday morning edition at BRQ Restaurant in Baton Rouge. It opened back in June of 2017 and is one of my favorite places. Got a barbecue and seafood over here at BRQ in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. They're open 7 days a week as well, from 10:30 to 9 most nights, and then they're open to 10 o'clock on Fridays and Saturdays. Only day of the year they're closed, Christmas Day. That's it. They're open everything else. Great place to know, because a lot of times, some of your favorite restaurants are closed on Mondays or they're closed on Sundays or whatever. Not at BRQ. 7 days a week, and they are rocking and rolling over here and have the best Saturday, Sunday brunches. Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan here with you, and New Orleans Saints update. The Saints played today in preseason, and if you're a degenerate gambler, you want to know that, Tommy, what's the line?
Saints are a 2.5-point favorite.
Wow.
If you got to
Right?
throw
Yeah.
that $5 bill on
Promise that this is regular season, they would not be a 2.5-point favorite over the Rams. I would give you everything I own to believe that.
it. Well, yeah. We'll see what it's preseason football. Whether they win 40-0 or lose 40-0, it's still preseason football. Main objective: don't get anybody hurt. Which the Saints have had injuries. Other teams have had injuries too, obviously. But 3:00 today, if somebody wants to tune in, Ron, out on the West Coast.
The Saints have, I don't want to say they haven't been decimated with injuries, but they've got enough injuries to give you pause, right?
I mean,
That they're not going to be able to get out the gate full bore with, what you were hoping for. So give us a little rundown and update on what the Saints are dealing with right now.
Well, I was feeling good vibes about the Saints until a couple of weeks ago. And now you get these couple of injuries and these reports we're getting, and then you recall that they opened with 2 games on the road at a very good Detroit Lion team, at a very good Baltimore Raven team.
where they're
Wow.
7-point underdogs in both those games.
Yeah, so I mean, it's today Tyler Shuck's not expected to play against the Rams today. There'll be a lot of guys out there that won't be wearing a uniform. The deadline for 53-man roster is August 30th. So, that's not that far away. Heck, 8 days.
You're not going to have Alvin Kamara and Jordan Tyson. Kamara, running back, Tyson, your exciting new wide receiver you drafted high. Not going to have them to start the season. You're already, Brian Breesy's already out for the year. That happened a few weeks ago. One of your, starting defensive linemen.
Redund's tore his ACL 2 weeks ago. The offensive lineman, he's out. Dylan Redund's, he's on for the rest of the season too. You start worrying about depth here. You start worrying about where the game plan was originally tied. I mean, luckily, those injuries to Redundant and Brzee were earlier on in camp allows you to figure things out. But, I mean, you got to scramble to do it because where the Saints were already kind of lacking at depth on the offensive line, now you got to find a way to plug and play there where Redundant was supposed to be a key backup and be able to fill in. He's not going to be able to. And like you mentioned, Kamara out at least a month or so, which, out this past week. So that means that maybe he's back by week 2, misses week 1 for sure.
Then Estime hit, who had the touchdown, he's out for a few weeks with a foot injury.
Yeah, he got an ankle injury, and then like we said, Tyson and I said yesterday on Sports Shorts Daily to Tommy that he's out, supposed to be out for 2 months. It's been almost 2 weeks since he got injured now, and a week and a half. And if that's the case and the Saints end up playing it safe because they want to make sure that hamstring gets fully healthy, right? They don't want to have the lingering injury into the rest of the season or in his career in general. They could play it safe and then wait till after the bye week after the Steelers to bring him back, which is week 8, I believe, is the bye week this year. So, we may not see Jordan Tyson until November.
Quarterback position today, Zach Wilson expected to start?
Expected to start. Hadn't been like an official announcement, but they did say during the week he moved ahead of Rattler, and he outperformed Rattler in the game last week against the Jaguars. It wasn't even close. So they're saying Zach Wilson will expected to start today. They did say Tyler Shuck is not expected to play today against the Rams. So 3:00 again. That's Louisiana time, even though they're on the West Coast. If you want to check it out.
I mean, Zach Wilson was the second pick, I believe, of the 21 draft, third pick of the 21 draft. And we've seen plenty of examples in the last decade of quarterbacks.
No, you're right. It was second, just so you know.
That were written off, and then all of a sudden had a second act to their career. Look at your quarterback who won the Super Bowl last year for the Seahawks. Look at the quarterback before him with the Seahawks, Geno. I mean, my point is that, hey, a talent like Wilson, that's a nice little get for the Saints if he's healthy and at a different. Look, he's at a different mind space 5 years into his career, 6 years into his career. That everything he went through in New York and off the field as well, and then so now you've got a more mature Zach Wilson who's been through 6 camps, who's coming in knowing I'm not the guy.
Yep.
I'm gonna be the backup. Obviously, he's going to compete, and he's in NFL, you got to have a good backup because
You gotta
injuries
be
happen
ready, 'cause
all the time.
After any
all the
snap,
time.
the next snap could
I
be
mean,
yours.
I mean, how many times have we seen the team's season come to an end early because they have to go to the backup?
Ask the
midway through
Bengals,
year? Yeah,
about
exactly.
what it's like. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he can't stay healthy.
And so with Zach Wilson, you talk about stories of guys that really elevated their play, later into their career. We'll see what he does this year. But Daniel Jones was a guy for the Colts last year that was playing an MVP caliber before he tore his Achilles.
Right.
He comes back this year and does the same thing again. You start thinking, man, it's really more and more in today's day and age of football. It just goes to show it's a quarterback being placed into the right organization and the right scheme and being used the way that he needs to be used. Because guys like Geno Smith, guys like the Cardinals quarterback
Murray.
No, I can't think of his name. Jacoby Brissett. Like he had a great season, and now he's going to go and be the guy there. Like there's guys that it has not worked out for in the past that are able to go into other systems and elevate their play, and it's just because of the guys that they're being surrounded with.
Well, but it's also that position more than any. Time is a great thing. If you're able to be on a roster and be in the meetings and watch and practice and learn and see how, I mean, that's the position where you almost wish you could draft quarterbacks and say, you're not going to play for 3 years. And just literally learn.
Well, that's how it used to be done. I mean,
Right.
that used to
That
be
was the formula.
That was the formula.
Yeah.
You would have a veteran quarterback and you would draft a rookie that was highly talented, had a high ceiling, and make him sit behind a guy
for a year or two,
for
and
a year or
play.
two, and
Right.
then he takes over to the keys of the car, and it worked for a very long time. But then time schedule.
Well, the money gets so big. You're not going to pay a guy
Some of those
$30
NFL
million to not play.
Some of those NFL teams need to get the LSU budget.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. The endless pot of gold that's somehow buried underneath Tiger
So the
Stadium.
formula's just changed.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of, I always joke about the Billy Cannon printing press that clearly still exists somewhere hidden underneath the bowels of the stadium because
It's not a joke anymore.
No, because I mean they just keep coming up with money left and right. Don't know where. There's a LPB, Louisiana Public Broadcast, is coming out on September the 14th. Is a Monday, I believe. That at 7:00 that night, they're going to have a documentary on Billy Cannon. So mark your calendar. Yeah, September 14th. That's a Monday, 7:00. There's going to be a great documentary that they've been working on for a long time over at Louisiana Public Broadcasting on LPB, and it's really about Billy Cannon's life, especially a lot of what he did afterwards, working with the prison systems and what he did post making his mistake in the mid 80s, with the counterfeit money and all that kind of stuff. But great documentary. So mark it on your calendar. I'm sure they'll replay it a bunch. It'll be on their YouTube, Louisiana Public Broadcasting's YouTube channel as well. But go give that a look. We got to take a break. Joel Davis coming up next. We'll travel over to Mid-City, Baton Rouge, go over to Wooden Haven Furniture Company. We'll visit with JD the Hog, the champion owner of the Indonesian soccer champions soccer team over in Indonesia. Wooden Haven Furniture Company bringing home the crown a few weeks ago. That's a real thing, believe it or not. We'll be back with more Sports Shorts and Joel Davis next, live from BRQ Restaurant in Baton Rouge.
Now back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you over at BRQ Restaurant in Baton Rouge, where right now they have a back-to-school special. If you give them the discount code BTS10, you'll get 10% off, whether it's dining in or taking out. It's a little thank you, and, they know right now back-to-school gets a little bit crazy. They got to share a discount. It's all for families, kids, teachers. If you need a great meal, whether dining in or taking out, BTS10, back to school 10 for 10% off your total bill at BRQ in Baton Rouge. All right, joining us right now, let's go to Mid-City, is over at Woodenhaven Furniture Company, is Joel Davis. Are the reports, Joel, that we're hearing that you have filed an injunction for a fifth year of eligibility to come back at 56 years old and play for the Tigers or Southeastern for that matter? Any of that true?
I guarantee. Well, I mean, I can compete, Ron. There's no doubt I can compete. But here's the deal. Before we even get into sports, can I say that I'll give it 10%? Hashtag RONSUCKS. Hashtag RONSUCKS for 10% off at the Woodenhaven Furniture Company today only.
If they just give that code to you, they get 10%.
Hashtag RONSUCKS.
Right. What'd you do to Joe?
10% guaranteed discount.
I mean, I hadn't talked to him in a week, and the guy, this is how he treats me.
He gets lonely.
Unbelievable.
He misses you,
It's
right?
unbelievable.
Well. I'm sure I got ranted this week somehow, some way, somewhere. So
I haven't worried about you this week, Joe. No, seriously, like it's gotten out of control. Yep. What's going on? I mean, I really think that if you got the right judge, let's say a guy comes in there and you give him a duck for free or an ottoman, that you could get an injunction and play in the NCAA.
Yeah, but of course. But I mean, I don't have an agent that's willing to pay the fees, and I'm not willing to pay the fees to the lawyer. I mean, I don't have a buddy that went to Catholic High that can represent me for free. So I'm just not in that situation, Ron. But what I would do is I'd love to compete. I'd love for old Lane to give the old guy just one day to run the offense. Bring the ESPN guy in and let him run the offense. Give me an easy read. Like let's not blitz the quarterback, right? Let's not blitz the 56-year-old guy. Just give me a cover 2, or a cover 3, and let me read it, and just let me see what I can do. That's all I'm asking, Lane, is a shot, and then we'll go from there. If I can process that, and I can do a good job there, if I can hit that seam on the cover 3, if I can hit that post route, that slant, the post route on cover 2, then give me a shot, coach. That's all I need. I just want to prove that it's not over at 56, especially with a healthy arm.
Okay.
Is that too much?
Yeah.
Can you digest that, Ron?
Yeah. So, Joe, I mean, I was trying to be funny.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys don't know how to read coverages, and you don't know how to attack a coverage. I get it.
But I mean, what I'm just saying is that like it's gotten out of control here. But here's the real thing, is that there's been plenty of examples. We sit here and we try to predict what LSU is going to do this year. Like ESPN's got them 10th. We've seen other polls 11, 12, 13. How do you know? Because you have names on a sheet and you go, okay, this guy played at Clemson last year. This guy played at Auburn last year. Yep. This guy, and let me kind of. How are they going to gel? How are they going to get along? How are they going to get on the same page? How are they going to love each other? Because, look, in a day and age where we're talking about we're going to have Skip Bertman's memorial coming up on Tuesday night, and when you talk about the success of like LSU baseball, it's about playing for the name on the front of the chest and the love of your teammates and the whole 9 yards. How can you develop that when you're sitting there in a locker room with 100 players going, what's his name over there? What's that new guy that just came in?
Ron, that's why Indiana won the national championship last year, right? Because they had dudes in the program for a while. That's why Indiana can't win a national championship without a quarterback that can go number 1 overall. Let's just make that clear. And then a team that's kind of together, that's been together for a while, right? I mean, you can plug in a couple guys here and there, but at the end of the day, you got to have a team, guys that like each other, guys that want to hang out with one another, guys that want to play for one another, guys that want to do everything they can possibly do to prove to their coaches that they made the right choice, right? That's you got to have that to win a national championship. It's too hard to do it any other way. Indiana wins the national championship because of the fact that they had a good coach. They had a bunch of guys that had been playing for each other, that wanted to play for each other, a little bit older, kind of came together and won a national championship. So it's going to be a challenge.
By the way, Indiana in the ESPN poll picked 8th. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, Mendoza gone. Josh Hoover, the TCU transfer, is going to take over for Mendoza. No, good point, Joel, and that is right. It's kind of like reminds me of college basketball. We saw that first, right? A few years ago with college basketball, where the mid-majors or the teams that, the Butlers of the world, the teams that, the VCUs or whatever, the teams that had guys that were playing 2 or 3 years together versus
continuity,
the eight new players every year, type of system. You're a lot of times you see those teams that have some continuity and some veterans, older players like Indiana had last year, a bunch of older players. Those guys are going to do you better than the super talented individuals.
So Ron, it reminds me so much of high school football. If a high school football coach cannot connect with the middle school, it's going to be very difficult to win a state championship. They have to be able to connect with those younger players, and they have to have a coach at the middle school that's willing to run the same system that's at the high school. That way, when they get there at the high school level, they've been running the program since the 6th grade, right? So if you're a high school football coach and you take a job and you're not in those middle schools, wanting people to play for, the next level, the logo, right? They want to come that way because, everybody can transfer, everybody can move out. You have to start selling the program early, right? If you're a high school football coach, if you're not, like, for example, Brewerton, if I was Brewerton, I'm sure, and I haven't had a conversation with him.
Yep.
I guarantee you he has a great relationship with Coach Odom at Northwestern, and they're running the same system at Northwestern. And Coach Odom is probably extremely happy to do that. And those kids are starting to play for the Z while they're at the middle school. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if the coaches are not doing that, they're just making their job harder, right? They're making their job. Some coaches don't like doing that. They don't want to play the politics. They don't want to get in another man's business and get into the middle school. But the great coaches do that. And at the college level, it's the same thing. You got to go get guys that want to play for the logo. Go get guys that will play for the logo. That way, when they come in, that's why Nick Saban was so great. He put a fence around the state of Louisiana, was focusing heavily on guys that wanted to play for the colors of the university and don't want to go anywhere. And, that now I know it was a totally different system at that time, but my point is but that's why the Indianas of the world are going to win. Just like you said, the mid-majors in basketball, they're older, they're more mature, they've been together longer. And so in today's world, it's just making it more difficult. Even it doesn't matter about the money you can spend. Sure, it matters. You get better players in. But if you can't keep them, if they're only there for a year, then what good is that?
Well, Joel,
they're playing for themselves as opposed to the organization.
Joel, you brought up the coaching aspect, and I'll add on top of that. I think the other thing in today's day and age is being able to be familiar with a system, and I think that's the big advantage as well, as having a coaching staff that's been built and has the surrounding parts that are all bought in and have experience running the same system. So in LSU's favor, bringing back Blake Baker, I think, on the defensive side of the ball has been huge. Being able to instill, even though you have these new guys coming in, there's a system in place that you can plug them in and teach them right off the bat. They started in spring, moved it into fall. And the other advantage for LSU is, even though you have a plethora of new players, a brand new head coach, a brand new offensive coordinator, at least the offensive-minded head coach and offensive coordinator came over together with a lot of their staff so they can instill that same type of plan here at LSU, bringing in all these new guys.
Well, Lane Kiffin was asked the other day about, the rankings thing. What did he think? He goes, I don't even know my team. How can they know my team?
Exactly.
Kind of what,
the rankings
kind of what Ronnie alluded to earlier.
Papers.
But I mean, he doesn't know his team like he's going to know them in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But it gives us plenty to talk about on Sports Shorts Radio and all that good
Well,
stuff.
that's exactly what it is, TK. The rankings are nothing more to sell newspapers, website subscriptions, and stuff like that. That's all they are.
Yeah.
And that's just one man. It's just a couple of guys' opinions. You know, a lot of nerds make a lot of decisions in this world, and a lot of guys that don't know a lot about nothing make a lot of decisions in this world. And you just got to look past it. It's entertainment. It's just entertainment.
Yeah.
Joel, you going to watch the Saints today at 3 o'clock?
So here's the guys. I got an announcement to make.
Uh-oh.
I'm just not intrigued by the NFL coming into the season. This just hasn't grabbed me yet, dude.
Okay.
Am I the only one that the NFL just hasn't
It ain't
got
grabbed
me
me.
going yet?
Yeah, but
hasn't
there's a
grabbed me,
difference
dude.
between the NFL and the Saints. I mean, you know, you were Mr. Saint, Joel Davis. I
He
mean,
was
like,
attached.
I mean, I thought what
Yeah,
happened.
and look, I'm still no. Okay, it's not that I'm not, but you know what the problem is? What makes me the older you get in life, the more you start, analyzing your life and the things that you
No, we're getting deep. here.
worship and
No.
the things that you focus
Is
on.
it break time?
So as I've gotten older, guys, the Saints, I used to get pissed off when the Saints would lose on Sunday. I'd be pissed off till Thursday. And it affected me, right? It affected me in a sense that I probably was making less money. I was closing less deals. I was teaching. It was probably not
4
treating
days.
my customers.
So
as
when
good
they
as-
lose a
Yeah.
week 9
Ron,
matchup,
it's proof.
to
I've got proof.
Carolina
There's people
Panthers.
that know me.
4 days, you're in a funk.
Right, let me tell you something. There's people
Okay.
that know me
All right.
that know me well.
Okay.
That have seen me go through the Thursday ritual of wanting to like slap everybody and their mother.
He's
All right, because the
he's not
Saints didn't
wrong.
win.
I grew up in a household just like that.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. Saints or LSU
Oh,
loses,
Ron.
it hurts for about 4 or 5 days in my
Oh,
house.
my.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ron wouldn't even
man.
watch
I guess
games
I'm
with me.
real old,
Ron won't even watch games with me because of how
He's
my wife
miserable.
has
Well,
to, like, you go to the man room. You're not watching anything around me.
Joel, not only for that reason, you shouldn't want to watch a Saints game with Ronnie Rance this year. He's rooting against the black
Yeah, I
and
took
gold
the
this
under
year.
7.5 wins.
Jesus.
I just feel like
It's
I
terrible.
just
Where the hell?
No, it's a
Get the
good
hell
thing,
off
Joel.
the
That
radio.
means they're
No,
guaranteed
wrong
to
with
win 8
you?
this year, man. They're guaranteed to win 8 now that Ronnie's better.
Unbelievable. But yet he's rooting against his.
no, but it's
Now,
not
pissed off
about
till Thursday,
rooting
but Ron-
against. It's just
pissed off
it's
till
just an
Thursday because of
investment.
you.
I'm just thinking
Unbelievable.
realistically. Like I think we're overdoing it on the Saints. Oh, they're so great because they beat a bunch of
You know
nobodies
why he
at the
does it,
end.
guys? No. Here's why he does that. Because he wins no matter what. He wins if they lose, and he wins if they
I don't
win,
know, man.
right?
He was real bit out of shape
That's
last year.
100% the reason why he does it. Because if they lose, he wins money. But if they win, we win. So that's why he does that. He roots against his own organization.
I know what's going to
so he
happen.
wins either
What's
way.
going to happen is they're going to land on 8, and we're not going to go to the playoffs, and I'm going to lose money.
Oh, God. Oh, that's perfect.
Right.
That's exactly what used to happen
Yeah.
to Ronald Rand. Hashtag RONSUCK. Here's the deal. All I'm going to say is, TK, I love you, buddy. Hunter, I love you. Ron, I love you. But the Saints haven't grabbed me yet. But, yes, I'm going to watch the game today. I'm going to get home. By the way, I'm selling the mansion, Ron.
I saw that.
Selling the
The
mansion.
house is for
Yeah,
sale?
yeah. The house is for sale.
Why?
No.
Taxes?
Oh,
not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, well.
Not up. It's not a percent. No,
Oh.
that was my son's house that I'm selling. That he rents from me. So I'm selling my
Oh,
government
okay.
street house,
Oh,
Okay.
God, the government
and then I'm
street house.
also selling the mansion, Ron.
Wow.
I'm selling. I'm
The house
cashing
that
out.
Red Zone built. Wow.
The house that Red Zone built, 100%. But here's the deal: I'm buying a house in Navarre, Ron, to build Red Zone on the Panhandle.
So
The Panhandle's
where are
coming,
you going to
buddy.
live here? Where are you going to live here? You're going to get a smaller house here?
I'm going to get an apartment. Probably in Perkins Row or
I
something
got
like that.
a
I wanna
house.
live above
I got a
restaurant.
house in Greystone if you're interested.
No, that's not true. That's not going to work. Those places flood.
Nah,
That's scary.
that's once in a
here-
1,000 years.
I'm just kidding. That's 1,000 years ago, 1,000-year flood. But I'm thinking a nice apartment in a community where I don't have to do anything and I can focus on business and work. And I have to. Ocean Springs is going to be my one of my biggest clients, right? But I
Yeah.
can't leave all my clients here. So the 50-yard line for me is going to be Ocean Springs, Louisiana.
Gotcha.
Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
Gotcha.
So I'll be 2 hours and 15 minutes from here to it, and then Navarre 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I'll be able to smoke Alabama, bro, with Red Zone and the Panhandle, Fort Walton, and then ultimately retire at the Beach Brim.
Yeah.
What a plan,
Yeah.
right?
You seem like a beach guy. All right, listen, we got to go. We're running behind on a break. Thank you, Joel. We'll talk to you next week. That's Joel
Don't
Davis.
forget about the 10% discount at Wooden Haven Furniture Company today. All you got to do is come in and go hashtag. Say it, guys.
RONSUCKS.
There it is. Bye-bye.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We'll be back with more BRQ. Looking forward to this.
Got some Alabama news when we get
I
back.
got the blackened chicken, got mashed potatoes,
Ooh, that
corn
looks
mock
good.
chew. What are you going with there, Tommy?
I got the bacon wrapped shrimp with pepper jelly.
There you go. We'll be back with more from BRQ, the official caterer of LSU Athletics, right after this.
To Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone, to BRQ Restaurant in Baton Rouge. Ronnie Rance here with you. Hour number one coming to an end. Before we do so, Hunter McCann with some news here to follow.
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer at Alabama has named their starting quarterback for the season. It's going to be Keelan Russell, the sophomore quarterback, beating out junior Austin Mack for the spot with 2 weeks before the Crimson Tide have to play. Russell was the 2024 Gatorade High School Football Player of the Year. He's only got 2 games under his belt. Neither one of them starts, obviously, for Alabama. That was last season against ULM and then Eastern Illinois. So he will make the start against ECU to start the season for Alabama on September 5th. But between him and Austin Mack, 2 guys, Austin Mack was a junior, and he was expected to be the starter coming into spring. But Russell had really shown up here in the fall camp, and he will take over the keys for the Crimson Tide.
That means Brett McCabe, the former LSU Tiger pitcher from the early 90s, Catholic High graduate, will be working with Russell on his mental clarity. You know, Brett McCabe, the owner of the Mine Side, has an exclusive contract with Alabama football to be their sports psychologist, has had that deal for, I don't know, 10 plus years. Of course, he also works with the Milwaukee Brewers and 9 PGA golfers and all kind of college golf teams. Offered it to Les Miles, great, LSU alum, wanted to work with Les. What is that? We don't need that. We don't need sports psychologists. And meanwhile, Nick Saban's like, no, I'll take it. I'll take it. Brett got his foot in the door working with the basketball team, did a great job, and then that's it. You see him sometimes on the sidelines. I've seen him on the sidelines sitting on the, on the bench, talking with the quarterback or whatever. Having that little one-on-one. Type of deal.
Being able to get them in the right headspace, it's a mental battle, especially whenever you're coming off the field after a poor performance on a drive, and being able to get the quarterback back on track is huge, especially at the collegiate level. Those kids need it.
All right, we're over here wrapping up hour number 1 at BRQ Restaurant in Baton Rouge. Remember, brunch Saturdays and Sundays are open from 10:30 till 3 for brunch today, and they're open till 9 o'clock tonight. We'll take a break. Be back with more Sports Shorts, hour number 2 next.
This is Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Shorts, hour number 2. Ronnie Rance here with you, along with the whole team. We'll tell you about them here in just a minute over here at BRQ Restaurant in Baton Rouge, right on Jefferson Street. And folks watching, listening, all over, especially ESPN Lake Charles, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge. Football season is in full effect. Major League Baseball is going on right now. We'll talk to Hunter McCann about that, and Tommy on the baseball front, because today's a big day with Kate Anderson. We'll get into that here in a minute, but we got our own big man here with us, Derry Beckwith, joining us, our resident football expert. He and Joel Davis, break it down for us.
They look a lot alike,
former LSU Tiger linebacker in the house. What's up, D? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I don't know if I look a lot like Joel. That's an insult. I think I look better than Joel. The expert part, I don't know about, but I'm glad to be back. Glad to kick off football season.
Joel,
again.
your
Looking forward to
albino
it.
brother. Right?
Oh my God, yeah.
He was all proud of himself as he broke down cover 2 and 3 earlier on the
God.
show.
He probably YouTubed it. So I'm playing. I'm messing with you now.
Yeah, because he will be mortally offended.
He will be.
So Derry, we hadn't gotten out the roster yet on LSU football, but you obviously have experience on the pro side with the Chargers, where rosters change a lot and teammates change. One day they're sitting in a locker next to you, and they're your best friend. The next day they get cut, and you never see them again. It's got to be interesting. It's interesting times for a lot of reasons in college football. But talk to me about, I think people underestimate in football when you've got 11 guys on offense and 11 guys on defense, 11 guys on special teams, the whole camaraderie thing, the whole buy-in brotherhood thing. It's got to be difficult to build that trust and that brotherhood when you've got a locker room that every few weeks, it seems, they're adding new players to it.
That's a great point. I think people, when you look at the transfer portal, you can't look at the rankings and say, well, this team has the number 1 transfer portal or this team had a top 5 transfer portal. I think Lane Kiffin, every conference or media attendance he's been at, he has reiterated that it's not about the rankings, it's about continuity and gelling together. If you can remember a couple of years ago, that team with Ole Miss with Jackson Dart, that was a team that was supposed to go to the playoffs, correct? They didn't make it. Last year, nobody really expected Ole Miss to be that good. I know I didn't. You have a quarterback that comes
especially when you're playing you end up with your third string
quarterback, and guess what? They make it to the playoffs because of how they gelled, how they came together. So I think it's so important in this transfer portal that you don't have time to develop. You don't have time to try to establish and build relationships. You have to get these guys gelled so quickly, because if you don't, it'll be a season where people say if you don't make the playoffs, it was not a success. And so then next year, you got to do the same thing over and over again, try to rebuild that roster. So for me, continuity, getting to know each other. I mean, I know when I played, it was like I was with those guys for 3 or 4 years, the same group of guys every single day, right? It was to the point where we knew each other, family members. We knew what was going on personally. Holly Highsmith was a guy that I roomed with for game days, home and away games for 3 years. We came extremely close. And so I think that you are losing that. So it's up to not only the coaches, but the players. Their maturity level has to be so far better than where we were, because you have a short amount of time to get it together.
And you have way more, obviously, distractions than anything you had to deal with from a standpoint of cell phone. You didn't have the iPhone when you played. And then also these guys have agents. Every single player has an agent. Every single player has a different salary. The guy next, it's like pro ball. The guy next to you might be making $10, and the guy to the right's making $5, you're making $2. It takes a special person for that not to come into play, right? Like, you go out there and have a good practice better than the $10 guy, and you're the $2 guy. You go, well, why ain't I getting paid? And all that starts to factor in.
I think that's another issue too, where I think a lot of guys, you're not going to see the diamonds in the rough anymore. Like, you remember, you got to see like a Tyrann Mathieu was a 2 or 3 star, Justin Jefferson, because now the guy that's going to get paid more, just like in a professional,
is going to get
play.
the chances.
They're going to get the chance to play. Just like a first-round draft pick is going to get more chance than the 5th-round draft pick. Even if they play the same position and the 5th-round draft pick is a lot better, they're going to give them opportunity. So with this new era, you're not going to have that. So guys who are getting paid more are going to get the opportunities to play and prove themselves.
Well, and then also that 1-star, 2-star not going to end up at LSU, whereas before they might roll the dice.
Originally.
Well, right, but
he goes to McNeese.
Well, what I'm saying is like the Justin Jefferson, which is a famous story everybody knows about, that he was a game day. He was supposed to go to Southeastern, and he ended up at LSU because they had a spot open up at the last minute on signing day. and then all of a sudden he switches from South. That ain't going to happen anymore.
No.
And for a lot of reasons, but largely because with the portal, if I'm paying players, I want quote unquote the sure thing, although there's never a sure thing in athletics. So look at LSU baseball. They had a pretty good transfer portal class last year and won 30 games and didn't make the playoffs postseason. So, on paper, I mean, their portal class was great on paper. You're just not going to roll the dice on those players. They're going to go to Southeastern. Now, if they end up doing well over there for a couple of years and then they go to Troy and they do well at Troy and then they'll end up at LSU.
Derry, you made the point that Derry made. I mean, that, the team that LSU baseball, we thought it was going to be in Omaha. I did. A lot of people did. They didn't gel, to Derry's point. They didn't get that camaraderie. They didn't have that 3 years day-to-day experience. And then it just didn't work out. Okay. Then somebody, and Oklahoma ended up being, the national champs. So that's the exact point. So it's more, they need Brett McCabe more than they've ever needed Brett McCabe for all teams. Now, every team needs a Brett McCabe.
In today's day and age, it's an anomaly to find a guy that's willing to stay with the program the entirety of his collegiate career. Garrett Nussmeier, we talked about last year, was an anomaly, a guy that was able to really wanted to play for the program, sat on the bench, waited his turn, and tried to take advantage of his opportunities. Those guys, that does not happen anymore, and it will not happen anymore very often in college football, because if, to Derry's point, if the money's being paid and the opportunities are not there, the next year the guy's jumping ship. He's going to go somewhere else where they can give him just as much money and he can be that starting guy and be on the be center stage. You're just not going to be able to form that same camaraderie that you're able to do.
And then wild, you mentioned Garrett Nussmeier, and we've seen little snippets of him in training camp, and all he looks good. It's incredible what one guy, if Garrett Nussmeier is healthy, and he doesn't have those injuries like he had last year, and he looks more like the Garrett Nussmeier what you're seeing now versus what you saw then. You still have Brian Kelly as your coach.
You're right. No,
LSU might beat Ole Miss on the road, and Lane Kiffin's still at Ole Miss. You know what I mean? There's so many. The dominoes are so crazy how one thing can affect so many other things. And Garrett Nussmeier's health and lack of, like you said, that we didn't know. We knew he was hurt. We didn't really know how much he was hurt. We find out now how much he was hurt. And
it shows,
and it shows because he looks like the guy in spring training, it's preseason right now, that we thought he was going to be last year, running around, slinging it from different angles, putting it in that tight window. We thought that was what he was going to do last year, and he was going to end up in New York and be one of the final five for the Heisman. And of course, it didn't happen, and then everything, the whole world flipped on its head.
It did. I think it's so detrimental now in college football. One decision, one mistake can cost you your season and cost you your job. And talking about Garrett Nussmeier, obviously, even with the hiring of Joe Sloan, obviously, I think Nussmeier's junior year, obviously, he put up a bunch of yards. But you still, even with the offense, you were like, okay, what's the identity of the offense? Then coming to the next year with Nussmeier being hurt, you have to have an offensive coordinator who can game plan and tailor around that. And they didn't have that just based on the decision that you made to not bring Denbrock back, who had a historical season with Jayden Daniels, let him walk go to Notre Dame, and you bring in a guy who's really not used to calling plays, and that's the result that you get.
Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator of LSU, made a comment recently. He said he's getting tired of going against Blake Baker's defense. And, of course, you have a different eye for the defense being a national championship middle linebacker. And the reports we're getting out of camp, and camp is now closed to the media. They're in full game preparation mode. They don't want anybody sneaking in there. Blake Baker's defense is getting a lot of talk, but the defense is always ahead of the offense in August. That's a given, even in high school football. So I know you like to watch the defense. You watch the linebackers in particular, but the whole defense. What do you think we're going to see out of Blake Baker's team? On paper, they got some dudes, but we'll see, right?
This is going to be the best defense Blake Baker's had, and the reason I say that, it's the third year. So anytime you have, whether a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator, that third year is where you reach that peak.
You get where you want to be.
He's been there 3 years. He's improved every year. They see that from the year 1 to year 2, they improved. So I expect a big jump to year 3. I can remember going to my junior year with Pelini. We were so dominant the first 4 or 5 games of the season. It was unbelievable. Now we had some injuries and things of that nature kind of tailed off, but we were still a top 5 defense because that third year we knew the scheme. We knew exactly what we're doing.
You had that confidence.
Dude, I can still remember Miami Palms. I can still remember Vegas. I can still remember Stronger Cost. It was so in tune and ingrained to us. It was like, man, running defense
Second nature,
was
right?
Like, was right around the bicycle. So I think you have guys like Whit Weeks coming back on that defense is going to be an extreme leader. And look, I think him and TJ Daugherty are going to destroy people this year because I described them on the field. I described them as 2 bad kids that you have to pay attention to them because if you don't, they're going to get into all little kind of mess. And that's exactly what they're going to do. I think it's going to be a competitive nature there because TJ Daugherty led the SEC in tackles last year. Whit Weeks got hurt. He led the SEC in tackles 2 years ago. So they're going to have a point to prove. I think the defense is going to be phenomenal. I think the guys got the guys up front. I think they finally have a person on third down where you don't have to bring an exotic blitz and you can drop 8, you have that one rusher to get to the quarterback. I think that's going to be key.
Hey, to your point, remember how good LSU's defense was last year. It was the only stability, and we talked about it from the very beginning, that you knew that the defense was capable of keeping teams under 20 points. And they gave LSU a chance in some of those games where if they did not have a top 5 defense, they would have lost maybe 2 or 3 more games last year if that defense hadn't stepped up. And to your point, with TJ Daugherty and with Whit Weeks coming back, and he knows the system like the back of his hand, and you've really stacked up that defensive line through the transfer portal and young guys. You got Lamar Brown, who despite rumors is healthy and out there at practice. You bring in Uman Milan from Ole Miss, and you bring in guys like that and surround with experience on the defensive line. Gives Blake Baker so many different tools to be able to be in those crucial situations, and you'll see things that you never thought that you would see throughout the whole season. Like at every opportunity, he's going to show you something different and surprise offenses.
And I think to your point, I think last year, I listened to another podcast. At certain points, to your point, they were the stable part of LSU last year.
Yeah.
The defense was. I think and sometimes last year on defense, I think Blake would probably admit to this too. He had to sometimes get too exotic on defense because he didn't have that pass rush to go get it.
Right.
I believe this year he has it. And so that's why I think this defense is going to be even more dominant just because he's not going to have to get so crazy and line people up in an out formation and blitz down the middle because he's going to have a guy to go get the quarterback.
I want to ask you, talking about blitzing, rushing the quarterback, if the Pyburn's able to come back and play, right? He's over in camp right now with Tampa Bay Bucks, got an injunction. If he doesn't make the roster at the end of the month, he looks like he'll have the ability to be a free agent in essence, and obviously LSU would be the leader in the clubhouse to come back here and play. My question to you is a guy who's gone through a couple of NFL training camps, how much of an advantage is it for him the time he left LSU, at the end of December to now, the training he's received, the coaching he's received, the going against pros in practice, if he were to join the team, say September 1, what kind of player are they going to get versus had he just stayed in college? How much of an advantage is it?
Okay, I'm going to say this. I think he was going to have an advantage from a technique standpoint, but he hasn't been ingrained long enough in the NFL locker room to have that great of an advantage. I think in NFL from year 1 to year 2 is the biggest
That's
jump.
the biggest jump.
From him being just going to mini camps and OTAs and playing a few preseason games, I don't think he's going to have that big of an advantage. They may have a guy on LSU roster right now that's better than Jack Pyburn that's not playing in the NFL. Also, I get the whole situation. You can have an injunction, have a guy come back down. But what we talked about earlier, continuity.
Right.
Can you imagine a guy who's getting all these reps in training camp at LSU, and then you have Jack
it's going to
Pyburn
piss off some people.
Jack Pyburn come down, and also he's playing against Clemson the first game. To me, I think that's where you have to be very mindful and be very careful of bringing a guy like that back in because you're going to play him simply because, man, he was in the NFL a week ago. He has to, be better than this guy. And it doesn't work like that. You have egos. You have guys with a lot of pride. You have guys with 4 or 5 stars getting paid a lot of money here. I don't think it's a great idea. To me, I don't think Jack Pyburn is going to make or break this defense. Now, I do know they're kind of short-handed at the defensive position, but it's not going to make or break this defense. He's not going to come in and just set it on fire. I think you should leave it alone. I have my whole opinion about this. I got into an argument with my friend not too long ago about this. I don't like this.
No, nobody likes it.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. Like
nobody likes it.
That's the ruling. Like I'm big on development and being where you are, where your feet are, and doing that thing.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that Baker has a relationship with Pyburn.
Yeah.
He knows the type of person he is, right? More than we do. he
how
knows.
to coach him.
Well, he also knows, is he going to fit in the locker room?
Yeah.
Like he knows, man, this guy's a great guy. Everybody loves him. He's going to get along just fine. And he also knows, man, I don't know that we're really, really good at this spot here. He could really help us,
Yeah.
And
Even
oh, by the
situational.
and oh, by the way, Hunter pointed out some things. What he had 2 sacks a week ago in the preseason game, and he even said himself,
he said last week that he really wasn't sure. Now that he's gotten to training camp and gone through what at the NFL it takes to make it at the NFL, if he really gave his full effort at college. And now that he knows that, like you come back with that chip on your shoulder and something to prove, like.
He basically is saying that, hey, as hard as I've worked in the NFL, I realized I left something on the table in college. I didn't work as hard in college as I should have because now I know what it's supposed to be. So I get it, Darren. We all feel oogie about what's going on, but at the end of the day, you play it's kind of like what LSU basketball is doing, right? Like Will Wade doesn't mind being Darth Vader because he's saying, hey, I don't like these. Jay Johnson says it. I don't like the transfer portal. I don't like all this NIL stuff. I don't like having to deal with that. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the rules, I've got to do it to the best of my ability. And I think that's kind of where we are. You can't worry about the oogie factor. You have to be like, hey, man, does this make my team better? Am I better with having Pyburn on my team or not? But I think that's where Blake Baker obviously is the guy that's going to control that answer, and then he's going to tell Kiffin what he thinks.
It's just, Derek, to your point, talking about the depth of the defensive line position in general, it is a crucial thing to bring guys that have experience, and they did that yesterday through the transfer portal with junior Tui Halamaka from Notre Dame.
Great job, Hunter.
Thank you.
He's showing off at this point.
Yeah, oh my God.
He's peacocking now.
It's so
Do that again.
You sure you're not
Tui
Hawaiian or
Halamaka.
Samoan or whatever?
How long did you practice that
You
last
should have
night?
seen me sitting in front of my computer yesterday when he got to the transfer
How many
portal.
times did you practice that?
I couldn't even tell you, but
are you craving spam or something? Eating spam these days? Whatever. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
but you bring in he doesn't have a ton of reps at Notre Dame. He appeared in most of their games, didn't start in a ton of their games, and the stats won't blow you out the water. But it's a veteran guy that can come in and fill the role and the need. And if you got to turn to him on crucial downs, he can do that for you.
To his point, I know we got to go breaks. We talking about situationally, correct?
Yeah.
If he comes in and it's a situational pass rusher,
sure,
he's going to go in front of a guy like Lamar Brown. Are you willing to sacrifice Lamar Brown's development, who's going to be in this program a whole lot longer than Jack Pyburn? That's what I'm saying. You have to look 2 to 3 years down the line, not just 1 year.
I hear you, but I don't think they look that way. Right. I don't think they look 2-3 years down the line.
How can they?
They can't because Lamar Brown's not going to be loyal to LSU.
Not only
in
that,
any way, shape, or form.
No,
and by the way, I saw Lamar Brown play. I think last year. I could be totally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think big body, nice body, like him.
Right.
But is he going to be a factor this year? Be that dog this
year? A lot of freshman D linemen are not.
Right. But anyway, I disagree with you from the standpoint of I ain't worried about 2-3 years down the road. That's all good talk, and we can act like it. But at the end of the day, it's year to year.
When it's 3rd and 9, they're worried about getting off the field.
I don't think Jack Pyburn is going to get the quarterback.
I hear you. Only had 2.5 sacks a year. He was disappointing a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's why I was asking you because obviously he had 2 sacks last week in the NFL, and he only had 2.5 last. And I know it's preseason and all that kind of stuff, but I definitely believe, no question about it. And Pyburn's even said it. I'm a better player now than I was a year ago. The question is how much.
And I'll say 2 things real quick. With Jack Pyburn, I said it an hour ago. If he does not make the 53-man roster, I think he plays for LSU this year. Second on that, how can they also think 3 years down the line, especially Blake Baker, when for all we know in a year, Blake Baker will be a head coach somewhere. You got to worry about
We're
now.
lucky that Blake Baker didn't go to Tulane.
You're right.
All right, we'll take a break. Be back with more Sports Shorts. Hunter McCann, Tommy Kreisand, Derry Beckwith. I'm Ronnie Rance. We're here at BRQ in Baton Rouge. BRQ, the official caterer of LSU Athletics, having a great lunch, and you got to come here for brunch. Brunch time, Saturdays and Sundays, 10:30 to 3. Make your plans to be at BRQ on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. We'll be back with more Sports Shorts. Don't go anywhere.
Now back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you over here at BRQ in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. The BRQ, the official caterer of LSU Athletics. BRQ opens 7 days a week. Derry Beckwith, Tommy Krysan, Hunter McCann. I'm Ronnie Rance here with us. And we're going to do Patrick Scallon with River of Life Capsules. He'll join us at 11:30 coming up next break.
Next break, yeah.
All right, so Derry, I got a question for you. This is an interesting story. San Jose Community College has a 47-year-old dude that went out for football. Guy played high school football 30 years ago. Hasn't played in 30 years ago. Dad of 3, been training. He's back at it, playing college football. A backup defensive lineman. He's all battered and bruised and loving it. How old are you, Derry?
39.
Okay, you're 39. So you're close to middle age, all right?
I didn't think I'd be that high of a number.
You're 8 years
I thought he
younger.
was like 27.
You're 8 years younger than this dad who's playing right now JUCO football in California at 47 years old. Guy's in great shape, and all that stuff. They're showing videos of him working out in the garage with his kids and stuff. What would it take for you to come back? What's the number? I want a real number. Like, I want an honest number, not some fictitious thing, right?
We can get you
I want the real number. What's the real number for Derry Beckwith to strap it on one more time for a full season? Pick whatever level of college football, doesn't matter. Okay, JUCO, Division II, doesn't matter, whatever. Not saying LSU, but I'm talking about you got to go through the summer workouts, fall, August camp, a full 12-game season, and you got to give it all you got. What's that? How much would they would we have to put in that red zone fundraising pot to get you to come out of retirement?
$2.5 million.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's a
number.
Give me the real number.
That's a
Yeah,
number.
no, that's a number. That's a great number. Okay.
Hey,
but
hey.
if I give you 276,000, would you come back?
No.
Hey,
No.
Mike Flint did it at 59 20 years ago. Remember when he played for Sol Ross? He was 59 years old in Division III ball.
Yeah.
You're 20 years younger.
Okay, but no,
He
but
did it for
okay,
free.
okay, 2.5. Tommy Krysan's coming out of retirement for 2.5. All right, all right, but I want the real number. Like, I want to narrow it down.
Okay.
$372,050. Does that get Derry Beckwith to go? You know what? I'm doing my employee benefits. I'm doing my insurance. I'm putting that to the side for a year, and I'm going to go strapping on a D2 Tennessee Wesleyan.
$750.
Okay, so now we went from 2.5 to 7.5, and I think we
Ronnie's
can
a
get them.
salesman.
No, I'm just saying. I think we can get them lower than
He's a
750.
negotiator.
I think we can get them lower than 750. I just want to get the real number.
Oh,
like
he's trying to find that hot button.
I feel like the number. I feel like the pain and the effort that you're going to have to go through is worth less than 750. I think there's a manageable number.
750 is my final number. The reason I'm gonna tell you that is this: my left knee, I have no meniscus, so it's bone to bone. So you expect me to go through this grueling training camp, knee swollen up,
Got to have a surgery.
gotta have
River of
surgery.
Life will fix all that.
Nah, they ain't fixing that. It ain't that.
I'm talking about hyperbaric chamber, all that stuff. I gotta pay for the therapy. So 750.
Yeah, you're going to spend 100 at least
yes.
in
right. So
maintenance.
now I'm at 650. So I think 750.
Yeah, then you got taxes.
yeah, taxes and all that. So now I'm down like
All right.
500. So
All right, so 750. That's the number.
That's a reasonable
All
number.
right, so if there's any attorneys out there that want to dig into it, get an injunction, and see if we can, because you'd only played 4.
Play 4 years.
Yeah, so he's got a
I
fifth.
played on the 5th year.
He's got a fifth.
You know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy? And this is probably my ego, which I don't think I have one. But if I really believe if I train for like 6 months, I think I'd be a pretty decent football player on the D2 level.
Okay.
I believe that.
Okay.
I really believe
Well, I mean,
that.
you're in great shape. You don't eat.
National champion, and he was in NFL.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Chargers and Saints.
no, he's in good shape. Okay, if what was the best 40 time you ran when you played?
Best 40 time I played LSU was 4.6.
Okay, you ran a 4.6.
Yes.
4.6 and change, or like 4.6?
No, 4.6. Now combine wasn't so good. It was like 4.74.
Okay, so let's go with the 4.7. Okay, you
Okay.
got 4'6".
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, you were 4'7" when you played. What was your weight at when you ran that?
I was 240.
And you're now what, 220?
No, I'm like 235.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So we
I wish I was 220.
we get to working out. We get that 240 back.
Mhm.
At this phase,
Mhm.
you'd be lucky to run a 4'7".
I'll be lucky to run a 4.9.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
To be
And
honest with
that's the big thing is that the speed is
Yeah.
when you get older.
But I know it's a spread offense. I'll just be a 2-down linebacker. All right. I'd be really good in the short areas. All I need is a good burst. I think I'll still be explosive. First, second down, third down when they go to nickel, just bring me off.
yeah, there you go. Guys
He
already
can go
he's
4
already
quarters,
listening.
though.
I love that he's thinking it through. I
Yeah,
just
some
need
judge is going to call him.
I
at, like,
just
1
need
o'clock.
one attorney out there that just wants to
know
take
one.
this on.
I know one.
Wants to take this on that just would have a lot of fun getting Derry Beckwith eligible and then shopping him for $750. Somebody out there, come on, Gordon, get it
That
done.
attorney's going to need a bucket of water, though.
Get it done. Like,
Hey.
I mean,
All right, we got to get to break here.
Tommy's, we're about to have a heart attack if we don't go to break. We are going to go to break
gotta go.
right now. My gosh. We're going to go to break. We'll be back with Derry Beckwith. We'll continue with Derry's training conversation right after this. We're wrapping up from BRQ in Baton Rouge, the official caterer of LSU Athletics. Special guest, Tommy will tell us when we return. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Something else. Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you over at BRQ, one of the great restaurants here in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. By the way, Derry, if you decide to eat food, bring your family. At least they need to eat. There's a discount code right now that they're running a special, a back-to-school special for anyone out there. It's dine-in or takeout at BRQ. All you got to do is tell them the code BTS10 for 10% off your bill. Just tell them BT at back-to-school 10 for 10% off. And so there you go, over here at BRQ. Right now we got Patrick Scallon on the line. And Patrick, obviously we were talking about Derry's knees and seeing if there's a magical button for him to try to get his meniscus back in his left knee. We know River of Life can't grow meniscus. But for those out there, a lot of people are like Derry that suffer with pain in their joints. Maybe they have a bone-on-bone situation. They're taking over-the-counter medicine. Why should they stop doing that and take River of Life?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, guys. And I'm 100% behind Derry going back into pro football. 100%. So, Derry, you take some River of Life capsules, man. You might have to take 6 or 7 a day at training camp, but brother, it will work for you, and you'll be like a superstar.
I'm OD.
Yes, man. It's really when it comes to Derry, he had some issues with surgery. You took him, and it makes him feel great. So everybody, if you've ever had any surgery, or if you ever had any issue with the knee or the arm, or you just feel like you're sore, and you've been going to the store, you've been taking something over the counter. Well, really everything is petroleum-based that you get at your drugstores or what have you. It's just terrible for you. But if you want something that's really good for you, and by the way, this is an anti-aging supplement, go to River of Life at riveroflifecapsules.com. So not only will all the joints feel great, that your stress level will drop down, and we have many D1 pictures on River of Life right now. It reduces anxiety. Just if you're 18 or 95, it doesn't really matter. If you take the River of Life, everybody at riveroflifecapsules.com, the pains will go away. You'll feel great. It's anti-aging. It's not going to hurt your stomach. It's not going to hurt your liver or kidneys. In fact, it's good for your liver. It's good for your kidneys. It's good for your brain. It's good for your heart. It's good for every part of your body. I mean, it really is truly a game changer when it comes to your life. Riveroflifecapsules.com. I guarantee you, look, if you just want to come by the office, I'll give you a couple to try for one day. But in 30 minutes, you will feel fantastic. Go to riveroflifecapsules.com. Everybody, you will not be sorry.
All right. Thank you very much, Patrick. Back here over at BRQ, joining us, Derry Beckwith, former LSU linebacker and national champion, along with Hunter McCann, Tommy Christ, Santa Mirani Rants. I want to get get an opportunity for you to maybe share a story or so with your passing, but Skip Bertman passed away, 8 days ago. And, of course, giant memorial service this coming Tuesday inside the PMAC. 6 o'clock, doors open. 7 o'clock, the service will begin. Pack the PMAC. Come on out. Show the ultimate respect to the greatest LSU Tiger of all time, Skip Bertman, and show up and show out. The service will probably last about an hour. They're going to actually play the Skip Bertman documentary on the giant screen from between 6 and 7, so you can watch the Skip Bertman documentary inside the PMAC. But he was the athletic director when you played. Yep. Of course, had retired in 2001, and then was the AD during the whole time that you were in college. And you're crossing paths with him. Tell us, your interactions.
So I have two stories that come to mind. The first story is when Saban left that January right before signing day, and then they were trying to find a coach. And I think that's when they hired Coach Les Miles. So at that time, Coach Miles was calling all the recruits to make sure that we're still on the same page. And Skip also reached out to us as well. He talked about obviously sticking with LSU because I think the decision that we're going to make is going to affect you while you're 4 or 5 years here, and also it'll affect you down the line. And so that was huge for AD. To get on the phone and reach out to a local kid, to say, look, I think by staying at LSU, you'll make the right decision. The second story is, it was funny. It was my freshman year in training camp, and this was probably one of the hottest days of the summer. No, not kidding you. We had practice. Then we had a full-blown scrimmage. After the scrimmage, we did something called Perfect 40.
So you had a practice.
And
then you had the scrimmage in the practice?
No.
Oh, so you had the practice in the morning.
Practice.
Then
you
had
same morning. Same morning.
Okay, so practice, then the full-blown scrimmage. Gotcha.
Then after the scrimmage, we did something called Perfect 40s. Now, Perfect 40s, you can maybe run 3 or 4. Doesn't sound like a lot. But if a guy does not get in the stand properly, if he's not running full speed, if he's not crossing the line, it doesn't count. Well, apparently, Jimbo Fisher and Bo Pelini start calling out our positions. So Jimbo Fisher, I think, called out, I think it was like Glenn Dorsey, something out across the line. Plenty got pissed off. The next play, he called early Doucette. He didn't finish. It was going back and forth. The guys, we were supposed to run 4. We ended up running 30, 35, 40.
Wow.
Skip Bertman was out there, and I can remember him. He was sweating, just had the towel on his face. And I remember him saying, this was Coach Miles. This guy, I can't do the voice of Skip Bertman. He said, this guy's absolutely crazy. He's nuts. And he walked in and left. and so, I mean, they had people like falling out. So at that point, it's like, man, I think sometimes you want to be all tough as a player, like we're going to finish this through. But if a legend, like Skip Bertman, says, this guy's insane, this guy's nuts, and walks in, we should all walk in with him. So that was 2 stories. That's a true story. Two stories that came to mind.
Yeah. I remember one of the stories, and this was obviously before you played, but it was a Skip and a football story. You know, people forget Skip was a defensive line coach. I think O-line, D-line, I can't remember which, but he was a line coach at Miami Beach High. So he was a football coach, like all baseball coaches back in the day. They would be assistant football coaches and then also head baseball coach. So he, and Skip played high school football. So I mean, he knew what he was doing, and he's a football guy and loves, likes the game of football. If you ever watched a game with Coach Bertman, he watched football the same way he watched baseball. He was commenting every play. He was moaning and groaning every play. And one of my stories is that he was he was at Kentucky for the Bluegrass Miracle, right? He's the AD, and they didn't have a suite. Kentucky didn't have the suites back then, so they didn't give him like an AD suite. They gave him an old radio booth that somebody wasn't using, or a TV booth. So it's a small little booth that maybe 6 people, 8 people max can be in. It's not anything fancy. And so he's sitting. It's 2-tiered, so he's kind of down at the lower tier, sitting at like a little desk type thing at the window watching the game, and Terry Saban, Nick's wife, is sitting next to him, and I think he had his wife, Miss Sandy, was like at the row behind him, and I want to say Lenny Lemoyne Construction. Lenny and his wife were in the booth because they were great friends with the Sabans, and maybe like Dan Radakovich or somebody was else in the press in this little booth. I mean, they're jammed in there, and the whole game. It's not going well for LSU, right? I mean, that was one of those games where LSU trailed the whole time until they won it. And so he's moaning and groaning, he's yelling, and why are we doing this? And the whole 9 yards, like a coach, right, in a booth. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, Nick Saban's wife is sitting right next to him. And she starts crying at one point, like towards the end, because she's, she hasn't won a national championship yet, right? This is year 2, I think, or whatever. She's thinking, we might get fired here. You know what I mean? Like, this is not going well, right? And they remember they lost to UAB the year before. They're about to lose to Kentucky on the road and then all of a sudden the miracle happens. So Coach Bertman runs down, to the locker room with Lenny Lemoyne. They want to go see this, let's go see Nick, go see the celebration. And instead of seeing what you would assume would be champagne popping, guys jumping up and down, hugging each other, somebody's playing music nowadays, whatever, shooting a video would be, TikTok would be what they'd be doing now. But instead, it's quiet, and Nick Saban is chewing them out. I mean, it's ridiculous. We should have never been in a game like this. We were better than them. They outplayed us the whole game. I mean, instead, he's giving it to them. We're going to work our what's off this week in practice, blah, 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 blah. And when they went down there, Lenny Lemoyne was in shock, because he was expecting to see this celebratory deal. Instead, it was a butt chewing. And Skip leaned over and said, see, that's what makes Nick so great, is that he's just like me, attention to detail, everything matters. You're never just happy to just win. It's how you win. It's the process. It's the system, and now we're seeing people, and you heard Nick this past week talk about Skip. And we know people like Brett McCabe, who the sports psychologist who played for Skip, and Skip got him into that career and profession. We're seeing how they were so similar. Skip Bertman and Nick Saban, they did it different ways. Skip was a lot more fun and, self-deprecating and a little more enjoyable, had the same secretary forever, whereas Nick would replace assistants and staffers all the time. But when you got down to it, the attention to detail that both of them had And unfortunately, you didn't get a chance to see that firsthand. Nick recruited you,
Mhm,
Derry,
mhm.
but you played for less. But the attention to detail is what, and the never accepting. I can remember winning a game on a Tuesday and Coach Bertman not being happy. He used to say it's better to win, to learn a lesson through a win than it is to learn a lesson through a loss. But he would give us a you-know-what and if we didn't play well. Because he's not looking at it from a standpoint. Nick Saban's not looking to beat Bowling Green in September. He's looking to beat Bowling Green the right way so that he can say, I can see us winning the national championship in December because we played Bowling Green the correct way in September. Skip was the same way. If you beat Nichols on a Tuesday night 3-2 in 10 innings and you played bad, he wasn't happy to just get the win. He wanted to win the right way because he could see, like, hey, this team's got what it takes to win in May when the bullets really start mattering and flying for the big games. And he could also tell when it couldn't.
Yeah.
And that's what made those guys so special and so great. So glad you had to have can imagine that phone call to a young Derry Beckwith at Parkview Baptist. Hey, Derry, Skip Bertman,
I know.
LSU. Of course, you knew who he was.
I did.
Who some of the others didn't.
No, they did. They did.
All right. Derry Beckwith here joining us. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. Final segment of Sports Shorts. We'll get into a little NFL talk with Hunter McCann. A little Major League Baseball talk. Kane Anderson. Let's get into that. Kane Anderson, when we return, making his debut. He's the 94th LSU player, I believe, to make his major league to play in the major league.
Sure.
Getting near 100. That's going to be an unbelievable milestone. Whoever wins the 100 should get like a gift basket or something. But 94 major leaguers in LSU history.
You got any eligibility left, Ron?
I got a better idea.
Zero.
Whoever's the 100th player has to throw out a first pitch of the Rougarou game.
Done. I think 94 through 100 should. All right, we'll be back with more Sports Shorts final segment next, live from BRQ in Baton Rouge.
This is Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you, alongside Derry Beck with Hunter McKeon, Tommy Krysan. We'll talk some NFL in a minute, but first let's talk some Major League Baseball. Giant day today. Kane Anderson already, the former LSU Tiger pitcher, St. Paul left-hander, should have just finished his third year at LSU and gotten drafted this past July, but because he was 21 after his sophomore year, he was able to be drafted, first-round pick, and here he is in the big leagues less than a year into his minor league career. He is just dominated. By the way, Anthony Ianson going to be up there soon, too. Anthony Ianson tearing it up in the minor leagues. That was your 1-2 combo that won the national championship for LSU in the 25 season. But Kane Anderson, unfortunately for you, Hunter, you're actually pulling against them today.
What's with top LSU prospects debuting against the Cubs? First was Paul Skeens. Now it's Cade Anderson. I can't root for anybody in their debut apparently about LSU. No, I hope Cade Anderson gives up 3 homers today to the Cubs. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. No,
why can't you say I hope Kane Anderson pitches 7 scoreless and the Cubs win late?
I'm fine with that.
There you go.
Let's do that. That's fine.
Hope he pitches 6 scoreless innings because they're not going to let him go more than that.
I hope he gets a no decision. That's fine.
There you
Let's just do that. I'm fine with that. But the fact that he was unstoppable at the AA level this year. Everybody was waiting for him to get called up to AAA. He never did, and it's the rare occasion where you get pulled up from AA to the majors, and he looks like a guy that's ready. All the stuff is incredible. I mean, we saw a lot of it in Omaha over the course of 2025, but it has excelled past that point for sure. 93 and a third, 135 punch outs, and only 13 walks. So he's got a more than a
13 walks and 135.
He's got
innings.
more than a 10-to-1 K to
better than you and I, right?
Woo, that's crazy, man.
Insane. So he's got a 1.06 ERA in the minors. Like this guy's ready for the moment.
Well, I'm gonna watch tonight. I can't wait to see him throw.
6:15.
See what happens. I mean, we don't know what it'll be, but Hunter, you're sitting with 3 left-handed pitchers, huh?
God, yeah. Jeez, no, yeah.
You didn't know. You knew me and Ronnie.
I forget that, Derry. No,
when was how old were you, Derry, when you quit playing baseball?
After 8th grade.
8th grade.
Yeah, that's when I stopped.
And was it
ML Woodruff tried to get him to play at Parkview?
Yeah, but I mean, like, did you make the decision on your own to play after 8th, or was you kind of talked into it to stop playing baseball?
No, I made a decision.
Yeah, you knew football was what you wanted to.
Actually, I wanted to play basketball. Right? Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, I did. I thought I was going to be an NBA basketball player until I realized I'm not growing anymore and I'm getting wider. So let me go knock some people out.
There we go.
Yeah, those legs and behind ain't basketball.
No. So yeah.
What did you play in hoops?
Growing up, I was a point guard. Kid you not, I was a point guard. No, don't make that.
Ronnie, I know we all have different growth spots.
Left-handed.
Ronnie, I'm telling you, I was.
You were good, huh?
Did you shoot left-handed?
I did. Yeah. I was something special. Then I got to high school. I transitioned to the power forward just because.
Who was the hoops coach at Parkview?
Josh Winters.
Yeah, Winters.
And then Coach Don Green was my 8th grade coach.
Yeah, about to say Green was there. I didn't know when he left and all that. He did a lot of good things there.
But Ron, I mean, Tommy, I'm right-handed, but I do golf and bat left-handed. I have my whole life. Yeah, so
interesting. Yeah. All right, so let me ask y'all this: Paul Skeens. What do this? How concerned should LSU fans be that what we're seeing from Paul Skeens, that I don't want to say this is the end, but like his best days are behind him?
They're saying it's because he pitched so much in the World Baseball Classic. That's
somebody's
thought.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, but look, Nolan Ryan used to throw 300 innings a year. Frank Tanana, these guys. So I don't know what it is, but it is alarming enough because his velo has dropped.
But it dropped last year. Dropped the year. What I'm saying? Like it showed the statistics show.
He threw the other night. Didn't get a decision.
What are his numbers?
Stats were medium the other night. It was like 4 runs in 4 innings.
And for that game, he went
and he walked
4 1/3, allowed 4 hits, 3 runs allowed on 4 walks, 5 strikeouts.
4 walks. See, that's not him.
Yeah, 81 pitches through
something wrong
through
with
those
the
4 1/3. So, but
what's his overall stats for the season?
I'll get them for you.
Wins, losses, everything.
They're not great. I'll tell you that. So 9-11 record, 3.95 ERA, 171 punch outs. I need to get walks for you. 1 second. Whip's 1.14, so his whip has gone up significantly since we talked a few weeks ago about him. See, walks 41 walks to it. Yeah, 41 walks to his 171 punch out.
Okay, so he's got a strikeout per inning, and the walks are he's still 4-1, a little better than 4-1 strikeout to walk ratio. So he's got good numbers. He doesn't have Paul Skeens' numbers.
His elite numbers, yes.
Right. I mean, like we were thinking, there's just no way that Paul Skeens is going to end up a Pittsburgh Pirate. You know what I mean? From a standpoint of he's going to do his time in Pittsburgh, go on the free agent market, and get $500 million and go play for the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Cubs. Like that was what was going to happen. Not so fast, my friend. Like this is a different. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'll lock him in right now this offseason.
Yeah. Well,
before he has a bounce back year.
Bounce back year. No, you're not wrong on that, but they're going to
as long as he's structurally okay. Like I would
That's
have.
what I'm saying. They're going to have to really dive into that and figure out what is
Right.
the issue here. Is it
Right.
is it just a tapering off, or is there an underlying issue and that arm's waiting to blow? Like you got to figure out before anybody gives him money, why is this happening and why are we seeing it? Because it's not just 1 weekend; it's a downward trend. He is heading downwards when it comes to velocity and the numbers, and he's still got the stuff, but the stuff's not moving as much as it was.
The one thing I will say is he does have tremendous other pitches.
Yeah.
His sweeper, his slider, changeup. I mean, everything else is elite. So it's not that I think that he can't be a top level all-star pitcher, only throw at 95, 96. It's just alarming as to why he doesn't throw 98 or above anymore. What happened?
Exactly.
Is it the too many red carpets, with his girlfriend or what? Who knows? All right, Derry, you're going to be joining us, every week, hour number 2 for Sports Shorts with football season coming up. I want you to give me a quick 30 seconds on this. We talked the other day. We're no longer eating. You said you don't need food anymore. It's overrated. What can you explain that for Hunter and I? Because we need that.
Yeah. So I just don't eat. I fuel my body with my mind and with water, and I function perfectly fine.
I mean, we're not joking.
No, I do. I intermittent fast a lot, so I do.
Still with the intermittent?
Yeah, so either 16 to 18 hours I go without eating.
It's impressive. It is.
Well, it looks like he can still play.
Well, for 750.
Although I messed up. I
16 to 18
I
hours.
messed up last night because I was waiting on my daughter to get home, and I ended up having a sandwich late at night around like 9:30.
I once ran into Derry Beckworth recently at Jay Alexander's. He was at a business lunch meeting. He's sitting there with 8 people at a table, and the guy had a napkin and a glass of water in front of him while everyone else was eating. He was literally just sitting there like watching people eat. I'm thinking this guy's got the biggest willpower of anyone on the planet. All right, special thanks to BRQ for having us, the official caterer of LSU Athletics. Derry, we'd love to offer you some lunch. I know you won't accept it, but we want to appreciate BRQ. We're here once a month. You should check it out. They're open 7 days a week. And come in right now. BTS10 is the code. You get 10% off. Just mention BTS10. For Hunter, Tommy, Ronnie, and Derry, we'll see you next week, everybody, for more Sports Shorts.